Fix. This is Common Universalis, which is a total overhaul mod. I don't know if I hate to call it that, because in my book I don't necessarily consider it a total overhaul. I think what it does is it really just expands on a lot of EU4 and what's going on. One of the big things that it does is it makes province development a little more organic in nature. And we'll eventually get to that. I'll explain through all of that. This is probably going to be about an hour, give or take a few, maybe an hour and 20-minute long episode, stream, session, and we're basically going to set it up. So we're going to go ahead and dive in. It is, let's see, what can I say about this? Anything else? We're going to be playing as Scotland. I really like playing as Scotland. It's challenging without being as punishing as starting off as one of the earldoms in Ireland. So we're going to play as Scotland, and ultimately I think our goal is going to be to, I guess we can go ahead and establish goals. We're going to try to take over as much of Ireland as we can, and then in the meantime we're going to look east, and we're going to try our best to establish a colonial presence, and hopefully if we can do that, and we can do that well, we'll be able to take on England. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. We're going to be playing on Iron Man mode, and there we go. When I tried to do this last time, there's actually a bug where every time you hit the conduct province census, which is one of the edicts that you get in this mod, it really it was boosting my development, and it was quite terrible, to tell you the truth. It was quite frustrating, and I always get so nervous about this. So I'm going to test my sound out real quick, and hopefully it's working. Yep, it is. I already heard it. There we go. Alright, so we are the Stuarts of Scotland, and I'm going to go ahead and read this because I think it gives a little bit of background, a little good one. Europe in 1444 is on the verge of the Age of Discovery, yet it is reeling from the shock of the failed Crusade of Varna, as well as the threat of the Ottoman Empire in the east. The Treaty of Tours has left Western Europe with an uneasy truce, one that looks like it could break at any time, due to the ambition of the kings of France, England, and the Duke of Burgundy. In the north, the Kalmar Union remains in place despite the disposition of its Pomeranian king by the Hanseatic League, as well as dissident Swedish and Danish nobles. The Russian states are barely starting to feel free of the Tartar yoke as the Golden Horde continues to fracture ever since its crushing defeats at the hands of Timur. I think that's right. By the way, if you've never done any history on what the Mongols did to the Russians, to Kiev and Rus, you need to do a little bit of research on that. They, when I say like absolutely beat the ever-living hellfire and damnation out of them, that's probably a very nice way of putting what I'm trying to say. So, as the High Renaissance approaches, Italy and Germany remain fraught by the constant friction between the emperor and the many autonomous princes. That's referring to the Holy Roman Empire. And then the last one is the entire continent is on the verge of major changes, and it will be up to you to lead the Scottish kingdom through this period. Man, I'm going to run it into the ground. Are you kidding me? So we are Catholic, and what that does is it gives us minus 5% construction costs, plus 1% tolerance of the true faith. And then, let's see, Catholic countries can interact with the papacy by using papal influence. If you've ever played this game, you know that. So, then that last part is really about reform desire. Not a big deal. So, let me check something out here. Let me check it out. Yeah. Alright, there we go. Alright, so now our government, kingdoms of monarchies, not monarchs, but they are monarchies, as I cannot speak. And then basically that tells us, in the event our ruler dies, which would be terrible, and we have an heir, we get a regency council. While you have a regency council, you can't declare war. So in the event your king dies and your heir is relatively young, you definitely don't get any benefits of having a Regency Council. Number one, your prestige, or excuse me, not prestige, but your legitimacy falls, as well as Regency Councils are a crapshoot. Some of them are really, really bad. So anyways, and that just tells us we can enter into royal marriages, and this is more about Europe and the Holy Roman Empire. Since we are not going to be part of the Holy Roman Empire, we're not going to read that. And 1 second, I'm going to pause this up real quick and mute my microphone, and I'll be right back. Alright, sorry about that. I'm back. Had a phone call that I did have to take. That kind of puts a damper on things. Not too bad. Let me text my wife. Alright, so, anyways, did I even mute this? Let me see. No, I didn't mute it. It's just silent. Alright, no music coming through. So anyways, this is Common Universalis. It looks a heck of a lot like EU4 because it is EU4. And there's some changes though. And so I probably need to go ahead and get my starting move set up before I talk about the changes. I do want to check and see if this bug is still being exploited. It is not. That is great news, and I think I just clicked on something I did not need to do, did I? We can find out real quick. We did not. That is good news. We did not. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is, I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt that I want to go ahead and start making my way through Ireland while England is occupied with this 40 years war. Or 100 years war, excuse me, 100 years. So the first thing that we're going to do is build a spy network in Ulster. We're actually going to build, well, I say we're going to do that. We're going to rival Denmark, and I don't think we can rival them. That's okay though. What else are we going to do? Yeah, we need to take a look at our mission. So we're going to solidify papal relations. That's going to be a real quick boost there. Go down to Rome and let's say, hey Pope, we want to be friends. I can be a good friend, I think. And our force limit is 14. Right now we're rocking 5 infantry, 2 cavalry, and 1 cannon. When you do play Common Universalis, you do start off normally with a cannon, so we're just going to beef that up by 2. And trade routes. What am I thinking? We're going to definitely collect using Duncan, old Duncan. And I think for the time being, yeah, we'll collect from the English Channel too. It's not really a great option right now, so we're kind of left just doing that. But some of the subtle changes that you will notice. First one is they have done an overhaul of the development. And this is one of the things that I really like about Common Universalis is the development is a little more organic. One of the ways that it is more organic is basically you have commerce, production, and agriculture. When you add those together, 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 10 is 20. Our total development is 20. Now, over time, your agricultural development will grow as long as you have the capacity for the province to grow in an ag perspective. Once you get enough agriculture, the game basically kind of... I'm going to put this in layman terms and then I'll show you the math behind it or where you find out. But in layman's terms, if you have enough agriculture, so if you've got enough food, your province will then be able to urbanize. And urbanization is commercial or production. Ag is just simply agriculture. So you're saying, okay, that's great and everything. How do I find out about this? How does this make sense? So if you go to the provincial edict button right here, and you hit conduct province census, here's the census. So automatically when you click on this, you see several stats that if you have played EU4, you will recognize this is not base game. First one is literacy and your literacy growth. Right now 3% of the population in Lothian can read. For those of you who can do math, that is terrible. That is absolutely god-awful. Furthermore, it is growing at 0.012%. That's a very low growth rate. The higher your literacy, the more likely, a couple of things. The higher your literacy, when you get to 4%, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe that when you get to 4%, you automatically have base institution spread when it's founded. Second thing, the more literacy you have, the more likely it is that your province is going to urbanize. While agriculture development is nice, it does not bring as many benefits as having commerce or production. So we move down to the second new really kind of feature of Common Universalis, governance capacity and occupied governance capacity. This province occupies 1.725 governance capacity out of that 10.296. So in Common Universalis, you have a governance capacity. Each nation does. Larger nations have more, smaller nations have less. However, when you are under governance capacity, and we're going to go take a look at that in a second, when you are under governance capacity, your government is perceived by the game, and in real life, it would work this way if you could quantify that as operating efficiently. When you're over governance capacity, it's the converse of that. You are operating inefficient. Inefficient government breeds corruption. It works into the game. It's a great concept. Then we get down to food surplus, ag capacity, urbanization capacity, commerce, urbanization capacity, production, urbanization capacity. All this is telling me, and you may want to fact check me, but this food surplus, I believe, factors into how your province grows. And when your province has a population boost, you get an event that triggers that you can pull up on your trade screen that will tell you how everything looks. It'll tell you what's kind of going on with that province, but you'll see population growth, and you actually do get some positive benefits from that. Ag capacity. What that's telling me is right now I'm 5 out of 15. I have room to grow in Lothian. Our urbanization capacity is negative. That tells me that until I get my ag capacity higher in this province, I'm not going to have any urbanization. And that's further reinforced when you get on here and you see this commerce commerce growth and production growth. They're both zero. They're zero because my urbanization capacity is negative. However, my ag growth naturally is going to grow 2.453 per year. You do that math out, that's, I want to say, 2.5 times going to 100. What's that? I'm really bad at math. 40 years, give or take a few, a little over 40 years. We'll say 42. It'll take 42 years for us to organically, without doing anything, bump this up to 11. Now, let's hypothetically run this out and say that we keep using some of these events, and we'll get to those in just a second, to grow our agriculture. And we get to a point where our urbanization capacity is no longer negative and these start to grow. And over time, these eventually tick up and hit 100. Well, let's say that we get an additional commerce. That becomes 7. However, whereas when it grows, it just goes up. The next one will be 11 and then 12 and 13 and 14. When commerce or production grows, it takes away one of your ag development. Really well balanced. But anyways, that's some of the new stuff. And that's some of the overhaul in this mod. And I think it's a lot better to me than having to just go, okay, well, I'm ready to develop this, and you sink a bunch of monarch points in to that. No longer is development a monarch point dump per se. Now, you still do dump monarch points, but it's in a little different light. It just feels more organic. So I was telling you about those events, and so some of those events that you can have trigger if you have the money and or the points to do so are focus on commerce or focus on agriculture. In this province, because I need to bolster the ag growth, we're going to focus on agriculture. So we lose 65 military points. We gain agricultural focus for 30 years. It gives us a slight boost to local trade power. It basically reduces our local manpower modifier by 20%. Our ag growth modifier goes up 10%. Our ag capacity goes up 10%. But our urbanization capacity goes down 10%. So we're going to click focus on agriculture. And as always, like I said, now when we click on this wonderful trade view, you can see, hey, look, we have ag focus. And it tells us exactly what I just read, okay? Now, if we click on the province and we go conduct province census, that was 2.45. That's now up to 2.967. That's almost 3. So you do that math. We've gone from 42 to probably 34, 35. So we've lowered the number of years that it's going to take for us to see internal agricultural growth. Likewise, our urbanization capacity has gotten worse. We knew that was going to happen. All right. So we have queued up what our diplomats are doing. We have queued up what our merchants are going to do. We are training troops. We are currently trying to take over Ulster, which is a great thing. We're going to tell our army that they need to go over here. And I believe, let me make sure that we have done everything in our power that we need to do. I think we're going to be able to start this game off. So, no, we didn't. Another interesting feature about Common Universalis, and I'll show you this real quick. So we have 4 light ships. We have 5 cogs. And this is a nice little change. If I click on build ship, here's your trade power. Transports, they're no longer worthless. And some people will tell you that, oh, from the get-go, if you start off with transports, you either need to sell them, lease them, or, get rid of them because they're a waste. Well, they actually have more trade power than the light ship. I'm not going to get rid of them. If anything, I'm going to tell them to protect trade. So we're going to protect trade in the North Sea. And I do believe now we are cooking with grease. But I did promise that I would show you this. So if you click on your national decisions available, new government policy, I've seen multiple people on forums and Aruba say this: wait a month, wait until December before you make this decision. You can pay a ducat, I believe, and get the mod manual. That explains a lot of the concepts. What we are going to do, though, is we're going to click Show Governance Capacity, which is free. So our capital, which we went over, is 10.296. Our base governance capacity of all of Scotland is just a hair under 16, but our actual is 17.5. If I move this up and go all the way down, right now we're at 10.45 out of 17.525. Our average literacy is 2.43%. They can't read. Let's just be very honest about that. A very fractional part of the country can read. But because we're only at 59.629%, our government is operating efficiently. So, just wanted to show you that, but we're going to go ahead and dive in because I need to take a look at the clock and see how we are doing time-wise. We've probably got about 35 to 45 more minutes, depending on when people arrive and get to places. My wife and my daughter are out with my sister-in-law, who's getting married, and they're trying on bridal dresses, or she is, and my wife isn't. And I need to bump this up. I'm going to run this probably between speeds 2 and 3. So we have a brilliant... Oh yeah, so this is another thing. Generals know I don't think they cost upkeep anymore, and they are given to you freely via random event. So today a new general officially took service in our army. He is brilliant. Let's see what makes sure that he is... Let's just make sure. Let's make sure and see what's going on. They say he's brilliant. So this is talking about manpower recoveries at 90%. Governance efficiency is at 130%. So you see all the benefits we get here. Trade efficiency up, production efficiency up, commerce tax modifier up. Because we have a more efficient government, it's a good thing. So I want to say, yeah, there we have it. All right, so let's check out this general who's focusing to figure out. We dropped frames. I wonder what happened. So we're going to assign a leader to these guys, and this is Douglas Oh God, why did they pick the one Irish name I probably can't pronounce? But man, he's beast mode. He's a 5-3-2-3. He is ridiculous. I have no clue why the internet is being so dicey. You'll have to forgive me. It may be a little dicey, maybe a little choppy. But now that he's leading that, I mean, you see that he's a 5-3-2-3. That's probably one of the best random generals I've ever gotten. So we're gonna go back, and we're gonna keep plowing through this. It's now been officially a month, and if I click on this and I say show me governance capacity, is that right? That may be right. Yeah. No, that's not right. That's not what I wanted to do. What am I doing? Tell me what I'm doing. We want new government policy. So currency. New government policy currency. Which below should be our new currency policy? We could say the market thirsts for more currency. We could lose 80 admin and basically reduce our inflation. A bit of inflation is good for the economy. We could lose some admin, and we could get a little less than that. Keep things stable. I like that one. We could, excuse me, that adds inflation. Those two add inflation. These two take away. We're just going to keep things stable. I'm happy right now. I'm happy with the medium tax rate. I'm also happy with the current policy is just fine. And let's just keep it running. There we have it. And we get to do that. And that sometimes can give you a little bit of a boost, but it's not too terribly bad. So, hold on. We have a message. England is requesting military access from us. Yeah, we're going to do that because we're going to have a delicate balance that we have to maintain. And the reason we have to maintain that is because we desperately need we're going to have a kind of a balancing act to keep England happy. Because if we don't, they'll come in and they'll pull what England does 24/7, which is just be a giant raging jackass, and they'll take us over. They're much stronger than Scotland. Now that we have some more, and I probably needed to do this from the get-go. So our capital is a 20, 18, 24. Fife is very strong. 15, 14, and then you get 8, and I believe 3, also known as God Awful. Alright, so is there anything we can pass here? Nothing there. Nothing there. There is another event that you can do for, I believe it is money and military power, that is called Reclaim Wasteland. And when you reclaim Wasteland, it says it takes up to 20 years. I've seen it fire in less than a year, somewhere between 1 and 20 years. And you basically send your men out, and they go and they reclaim a spot of land, and you automatically get 1 agriculture development. That's another way that you can achieve seeing growth. And so at some point, once we get 40 military power, we will probably do that, which I think would probably be wise. And I didn't even look at this, and I probably need to show you this. So we have King James Stewart II. He is a 3-2-2. He is not great. He is righteous, so his legitimacy goes up, but we're already at 100 legitimacy, so that doesn't mean a hill of beans for us. And that is okay. That is a-okay. And I'm going to have to pause this game and take this call, so I will be right back. Hey. Oh, just having fun. What you doing? No, I'm going to have to shower. Yeah, your dad's probably close to Troy, so I'm getting ready to hop in the shower here in about 5 minutes. Okie dokie. I can't wait to hear about it. Mm-hmm. Alright, I am sorry about that. As always, this is what happens when I try to stream on a Saturday afternoon, inevitably. It goes awry. People call. They act like they actually want me to do something with them. So, anyways, we got to hit 20 with Ulster. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I have done incorrectly? We're improving our relations with the Pope. I do want to kind of keep an eye. So, England is actually... Wow, they're winning? Man. Although it doesn't look like they're going to be winning for long. I mean, you take a look at that. Who are they at war with? Can we actually click on that? I think they're... Who's helping them out? So that's Burgundy, I believe. Yep, Burgundy's at war with England. Brittany, are you doing anything? No. Provence is at war with England. Okay, there we go. So we're going to kind of keep our eyes on that and see what England does. Like I said, it's been very... I didn't say this, I thought it. I've only had one playthrough so far where England actually comes out of this war like smelling like a saint. And my gut says that this isn't going to be one of those playthroughs. Although you never know. I did see one where England marched down and they started sieging all this stuff. It was crazy. But anyways, we'll have to get our ships right before we declare war. Have this little army. They're going to kind of be our backup army. Now, we do have the required manpower. And let's see, can we reclaim Wasteland? We can. So this is what happens. You click Reclaim Wasteland. After you do that, go to the Provincial Edicts section. Reclaim Wasteland. And so the lands of Lothian is desolate and almost worthless in economy, but if we send enough manpower to cultivate these lands, we can turn them into proper farmlands and populate this province. So we lose 2,000 manpower, 40 ducats, 60 military power, 65 military power. But we get cultivating wastelands, which we're going to do it because we want this thing to grow. We want it to get bigger than Fife if that's possible. And so we get back down there. And I believe sometime in 1446, England, you're now losing your war. I need England to stay in a drawn-out war with France and everybody else, because the longer they're focused on this, the more time I have to cause problems over here. And it looks like at the end of this month, we'll be in a position to prep for an attack. Alright. So we're going to recall... Actually, we're not going to do that just yet, because I will mess this up. We want to fabricate a claim. Yes. We have fabricated a claim. Oh, I don't want to do that. Military divided. Forts are our strength. Yeah, we're going to be on the attack, so we're going to take that right now. Alright, so I need to get you to come home, and I wasted several days on that, and I'm kind of disappointed that I did. But now that we have... Are y'all moving there? Yeah, you are. Good. We will now declare war. And I'm happy that Sligo's your ally. That is fine. That is perfectly fine with me. Gonna wait for our ships to get there. Looks like we're fighting a little bit of a battle, which we should absolutely wax them. And I haven't really looked at my economy. You'll have to forgive me for that. So they're moving now. And sorry for me not controlling the screen great. Alright, so now that we have that, we're going to take both of these armies and we're going to send them directly there. So we're headed there. We're going to slow it down so we can watch the battle. And here we go. Perfect, and now we will begin to siege them down. We got a blockade, we got the whole 9 yards. And we're just going to go ahead and merge those guys in. In fact, we will probably train up 2 more infantry, which is fine by me. And we will definitely start to... what are we going to do? We're going to actually ask for military access before we do anything crazy like that. So now that we've done that, we're actually going to split this. Are we going to split it up in these 3 regiments? We could leave the cannon. And we're not going to do that just yet. As soon as we siege that thing down, though, we will definitely believe we're at war with them too. Yeah, we're going to take them out as well. And that's probably where we'll end this episode, because apparently I've got to leave a lot earlier than I thought I did. And I'm going to wreck Sligo. So let's go ahead and get this siege up and running. And we wait. That's all we can do. We wait, we wait, we wait. So, I mean, right now, man, our rolls are actually looking pretty good. They should look pretty good, except for when we hit a 2. I mean, that's just terrible. Terrible on our end. Alright, so we know that we only need 3 guys there to successfully siege. Everybody's at full strength. And that leaves us with, yep, we're going to select this one and tell them to go on to Sligo. Because when we make peace, I'm going to take both of those. The more opportunity we have to do that, the better off we're at. So how are we doing here? Let me slow this down. So we rolled quite strong. We rolled basically the same thing as them. This general is awesome. He is just a great general. Great general. Another similar roll. There we go. That's man, that's brilliant. So now we can siege Sligo down. And that's still at -7%. Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Can't roll that 3 there. That is unfortunate. But we're going to work on sieging them down. And we'll get this back up. Sligo's not going to be able to recover. We're going to pick up those 2 provinces. And we'll get a lot of money out of it, which is a good thing because we have some buildings that we need to build. We have some buildings that we're going to want to build. And you get across the pond there, so to speak. And let's get this thing sieged down. Let's get its siege down because that's what we want to do. You've been reinforced. There you go. You rolled a 1, didn't you? Yeah, you did. It's always fun watching this. Which one's going to siege out first? It'll be real interesting. Alright. So Tyrone, who is now taking over Kildara, which is exactly what we want to have happen. Because eventually we will be going after Tyrone. That's great. Perfect. So that's over. And that's fine by me. We'll fight them there. Alright, so both of those sieges are over. But I do want to let that sea battle play out. And see how this plays out. Alright, we didn't capture any ships, which is fine. But we can now go ahead and approach peace. So we want to go diplomacy. We want to sue for peace. And let's see how much gold we can get out of this. I'm hoping it's going to be a lot. Only 75. Alright, so let's scrap that. Let's sue for peace with Sligo. And let's take all their money, which is 43. And we went ahead and pieced them out. So Sligo now belongs to us. Which, by the way, if you're curious, Sligo is like the worst. When I say worst, I mean the worst province. And there we have victory. So we now have some money. And the first thing that I want to do with that money is, and I'm going to show you, is a building that we want to build. Which is a mill. We'll definitely build a mill here. And then with the rest of it, we're going to go to 5, and there's nothing we can do in 5. Nothing we can do there. And then I guess the next thing that we're going to do is we want to make a core, and we want to core this as well. And then we want to tell our diplomat right here to start building a spy network. Alright guys, well unfortunately I do have to go. I'd kind of hope to let this one go a little longer, to be completely honest, but 45 minutes is okay. We had a bunch of breaks. When I get back to it tonight, it will not be as interrupted because everybody will be asleep, but we'll continue this up. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll continue to try to make Scotland great, because as I said, we want to at some point own all of the British Isles. And that's going to be our goal. But I'll catch you next time. Y'all be good. And if you play EU4 and you're watching this, I can't tell you enough. If you've not tried Common Universalis, give it a go. See you then.